Hey everyone. So in this video, I wanted to create basically a little quick demo to show people how easy Power BI is to navigate and how customizable it is whenever you want to create your own maybe targets or comparison numbers, and I guess the drag and drop functionality. So if you want to add more detail to a report that the detail isn't already existing in a specific visual or report, and vice versa, if you want to maybe remove a level of detail that you don't necessarily need, it's extremely easy to do. So the first page here we're going to look at is, this is just a simple report that looks off loans written off. So you'll see here that I have a loans issued amount and I have a written off amount. They're actual numbers, but this target number, so that's the first place where we'll start. So if we click on edit here, that's actually a measure. So if I look at target, written off target amount CU1 now, because I'm in Power BI service, you're not going to see it in here, but I do have desktop. So I'm going to open it up in desktop to show people that measure. So if I come back to desktop here, and if I go to click on the same visual again, so again, it's target, it's actually called written off target amount CU1. So I'll just expand this to see, make sure we're selecting the same one. And all that I've done there is I've multiplied the loans issued by the written off target. Now, what's the written off target? That's this measure here. You can see that's the name. And here it is down here. And all it is 1%. So like I've made that target number. And that's one powerful thing about Power BI is you don't necessarily need to use the trends that maybe software applications provide to you. You can make your own kind of targets and what you think you should be at. And of course, that needs to be an educated kind of estimate. It's not just pulling a number out of the sky. It would probably be doing some historical analysis, seeing what the average is, maybe picking one of the average years, and then from there you can always tweak it. But what you can also do as well is you can easily adjust this to, you'll see now if we go to the drill through page, which is a hidden page, and I'll show how this works when I jump back to Power BI service. But this is the actual loan descriptions. So what you could do is you could notice that maybe a lot of, let's say, a lot more motor loans are being written off. It's second in the list here, percentage of total, compared to the personal loans. So you might want to add in the target for, if we jump back to that number, you could go into detailed as saying, okay, the written off target for motor loans is actually 3% because, or in this example, it might be a little bit higher because that's 16% of the total written off. So it's not necessarily 16% of the issued amount. That would obviously be quite worrying. But you can make it as detailed as you want, and you can also make it as generic as you want. It's totally customizable, which is the main beauty about Power BI. If I jump back to Power BI service now, and the way that drill through page is meant to be kind of used is, we went into edit mode. So if we come back to reading view now, you'll notice that there's no page anymore. And the way drill through pages are used in Power BI is, if you can see here, okay, we are written off amount in 2024 is quite large, and it's 122% above our target. So we've basically, 2024 has been our worst year in terms of loans written off. Yes, it's been our best year, or one of our best years, in terms of loans issued. If we sort this, we'll sort it correctly. So it's been our second best year. But the question you'd be wondering there is, well, we issued 600,000 more last year. Why have we issued, nearly double? Sorry, why have we written off nearly double what we've written off the year before? So what you would do there is, you can just set up a drill through page where you can right click on drill through, and that will then take you into a lot more information in this example of that 159K, which you can agree to there. If we click the back arrow and we just do it again, that's where that 159K is coming from. And let's see some information behind that. So as you can see, we touched on it earlier in the video. What's the worst loans in terms of the written off amount? And you can see in this example, it's the personal loan, 10%. And what happens if we click this little expansion? What level of detail does that bring us into? What that tells us is, if we click on edit mode, you can actually see it. So we have the member ID, which is 9284, if you wanted to see what member does that specific loan write-off relate to. What's the loan, the date that the loan was written off, and then finally the loan account ID. So you can really drill into lots of level of detail if needed. Come back and click on the reading view, and I'll not save those changes. What's the loan written off? So that again, we're back here. I'm going to click back. I'm going to drill through again. So I'm going to click the back arrow up here. Okay, it doesn't seem to be. I'm just going to click this report page. Doesn't seem to be allowing me to go to the homepage. So I'm going to go back here and now click on the reading view from there, and I'm going to drill through because I want to see the 159K again. So what's the written off amount by the accommodation type? So most of the people that essentially had the loan written off, they're actually living with their family, which is quite surprising. You would imagine that they maybe, homeowner, that they're having to pay a mortgage, and therefore they might have a loan that they're not able to keep up with. But in this example, you can see the data is telling you that just under half is actually living with the family. What's the loans written off by the employment status? So again, maybe surprising or unsurprisingly, self-employed is actually second on the list here. And then you can see all of the other relevant fields. What's the written off amount by loan category? In this example, all of it is just categorized to the personal loan, so it's not the best visual. But in some examples, you would see that split out between mortgage and between business loans as well. What's the written off amount by occupation? So hopefully people are starting to see the trends here. You can combine all of this data and maybe paint a picture as to see, in this example, who might be our more risky or members in terms of issuing loans to. You can see here that's what the data is telling us here. And then in terms of age group as well on the bottom right hand side. But if I just go back to the first page again, and I'm going to show people how easy it is to build out Power BI reports. So you can see here at the minute that yes, we have the year and we have the issued amount, but what if somebody doesn't really like the hidden drill through page? And what if you're somebody that wants to see that data on the underlying report page? Well, what you can do there is you can then just add in. So if we come to this page, we can see that it's called the description, but it's essentially the loan purpose. So it's in the loan account type table, and it's called the description column. So what we could do is we could actually go to this first visual, go find that column. So it's in the loan account type table, and it's in the description column. We could actually bring it into the matrix. And what that will then allow us to do is all of the data will stay the same. And like just to show people how easy it is to minimize and maximize and change size and of visuals, just drag this over a little bit more. Now I would want to tidy this up, the gap between that, but I'm not going to cover that in this video. But essentially what we can now do is we can click the expansion here. And while we have a repeating amount for loans issued, and that's because I don't have a relationship set up correctly. So anytime you see that, that's telling you that your relationships are a little bit off. But focusing on the written off amount in this example, you can now see that we can see the level of detail that we could see in the second page. So it's as easy as that. It's as easy as just dropping fields in. Now obviously this isn't the best example to use because we're having the repeating issue with the relationships. But once your data model is set up correctly and allows for it, you can have as much detail as possible, or you can have as little detail as possible. And hopefully you can also see how easy it is to put in those, your customized target amounts. And then you could also have a goal, target amount for loans written off this year is 1%. Let's really try and push and get that to 0.75% next year. It's always great to have something to work towards and to have a goal to try and essentially meet that goal.